I swear, if I watch one more video on dopamine fasting and going monk mode to break your social media usage and lessen your screen time, I'm gonna lose my shit. For real though, no shade to those guys. If that is something that works for you, kudos to your self discipline that you're able to just quit cold turkey and stop using social media altogether. I am not one of those people. I absolutely love scrolling reels on Instagram and then switching to Twitter and then from there to YouTube and then back to Instagram again. And you might say that this is because I'm a creator and that I create content online and that is why I have to do all of this. But mind you, my cut screen time is somewhere around 3.5 hours every day. And this includes the time that I need to post content online and interact with anybody on my social media feed or my client's social media feed. It was 8.5 to 9 hours at one point in time. But for the past 3 to 4 years of actually creating content, I don't think I have let my phone usage or my social media usage negatively impact any aspect of my life, whether it's my relationships, whether it is other passions, or anything else that I want to do in life. I don't think you need to quit cold turkey or give up on social media altogether in order to have a good quality of life. So, here are a few strategies that I have been using in the past few years to manage my social media and my phone usage while managing other things. And make sure you stick around till the end because we are also going to talk about what to do in case these strategies or other self help strategies are not working for you in this regard. Let's begin. So, the first thing that we need to stop doing is making this a character flaw. You are not a terrible person for having excess screen time. You are not a terrible person for using social media or getting addicted to social media, although the verdict on that is still out. Research is still being done on whether you can get addicted to social media. It does negatively impact your life if the usage is beyond normal, if you are spending 9 hours of your day on it instead of doing anything else, obviously. But that does not make you a terrible person. And you need to stop basing your entire personality or your character around it. And what I mean by that is whenever you talk about yourself, whenever you think about yourself, whenever you think about this particular habit, instead of revolving your entire personality around it, just treat it as one bad habit. Because the more you make it a part of your character, the more difficult it becomes for you to break out of this loop, because our brain is very good at forming identities. So if I identify as a social media addict, my brain will continue to do things subconsciously that push me in that direction. And that is not something that we want. The second thing that we need to do is set an intention to actively use social media and not do it passively. Now, what this means is that there are two ways in which you essentially use your phone or use social media. One is with intention, where you pick up your phone to make a call, maybe click a photo, maybe go post that story on Instagram. And the other is unintentional. You picked up your phone to open the calculator, and as soon as you closed it, you automatically went to Instagram and then you started scrolling and you didn't realize where 1 hour of your time went. So, what we essentially need to do is identify when we are unintentionally going to these social media apps, to any other app that our brain wants to feed on. And a great way to do this is to use this app called 1 Second. And what it does is basically reminds you whether you came to use this social media platform intentionally or did you just mindlessly click on it and then realize, oh, this is not what I wanted to do. So it creates these blockers, and you have to fulfill that particular activity that the app prompts you to do before you can actually open the social media platform. And that little bit of friction that it creates basically reminds your brain कि अच्छा ये तो मैं automatically इधर आ गया या फिर हाँ मैं actually में खोलना चाहता हूँ. And a friend of mine recently started using this and he is finding it absolutely beautiful. Now, the next thing that you want to do is teach your mind to build discipline in this regard, right? There is only so much stuff that external things can do. कोई आके बोल देगा टोक देगा कि अरे तुम हमेशा फोन पे रहते हो तो वो हमें थोड़ी देर के लिए तो चुभेगा, but हम we'll go back to our old habits, right? Similarly, with these apps, if you're not determined to reduce your social media and your phone usage, you can just really surpass, the timers that come on Instagram, for example, or the timer that Apple gives you. You just swipe up, say 15 minutes more, and continue using your social media. So, to build this discipline, what you essentially want to do is attach a reward to not using social media. Basically, gamify kar do us cheez ko, right? So, give yourself a challenge that this is the X amount of time that I'm not going to use social media for, or this is the X amount of time that I'm not going to use my phone for, and then have a reward attached at the end of it. This could be in the form of an app. People use Forest for this. So basically, it sets a timer, and the amount of time that you're not using your phone for, a plant grows. And if you pick up your phone and use it in between that, that plant essentially dies. So that's something that works for you. You can try that. But another thing that I like to do is I like to do it over a 30-day period wherein I cross off on the calendar whenever my phone screen time is like less than 3 hours. And if it is, let's say, 1 week in a row, I'll treat myself to something nice like a Starbucks coffee. And that gamification process really gives your brain this reward system. So earlier you were getting that dopamine rush from mindless scrolling, but now you are getting that dopamine rush from building discipline and sticking to your habits. Easy peasy. The next thing that you want to do is create more opportunities to get into flow state. Flow state is basically this focus wala state where when you continuously work on a focused activity, your brain is really engaged in that. And when you finish it, you get rewarded with all of these feel good hormones. अगर आप concentration से कभी भी काम करोगे, आप realize करोगे कि कितना rewarding होता है फोकस के साथ, कंसंट्रेशन के साथ एक पर्टिकुलर टास्क को लंबे समय तक करना. So you want to have more opportunities in your life to do this. And one easy fix that works for me is basically putting my phone on D&D or putting it in another room while I'm working on a focused task. Usually 1 घंटे का होगा या 1.5 घंटे का होगा. And उस पीरियड में मैं अपने फोन को D&D पे डाल के दूसरे कमरे में रख देती हूँ. And this basically prevents me from picking up my phone immediately and going to Instagram mindlessly. So it just creates that little bit of friction ताकि मैं बार बार उसको उठा के और अपना फ्लो स्टेट ब्रेक नहीं कर रही. अब एक फ्लो स्टेट का फ्लिप साइड ये है कि जब आप स्क्रॉल करने लगते हो माइंडलेसली, तब भी आपका माइंड एक फ्लो स्टेट में चला जाता है, राइट? आपको पता नहीं चलता कितने घंटे चले गए. You have to ensure that you are creating more opportunities for this positive flow state where you are working or doing something interesting for longer periods of time without having your phone around you all the time. And you have to lessen the number of opportunities you have for mindlessly getting into the flow state of scrolling on your phone. I made it sound quite simple, didn't I? It is actually. If you have the intention, nothing is difficult, my friend. And my final point is have more interesting things to do in your life. Now, this is something that takes time to build up, and interesting things means different things for different people. But whatever it is that you find interesting, think back to जब आप social media पर ज़्यादा time नहीं बिताते थे. What were the activities that you actually enjoyed doing? मेरे लिए art है, nature walks है, बाहर जाके खाना खाना है. So all of these things give me immense amount of pleasure. And the more I incorporate these into my life, the less time I find myself spending on my phone. So whenever I'm in the middle of a painting session, for example, I am not using my phone. Or when I go out to meet a friend for dinner, I am completely engrossed in that conversation and I'm not looking at my phone because that is that interesting for me. So you have to find what is interesting enough for you. One quick hack for focused activities that I forgot to mention earlier is also like when you are studying or working, to prevent yourself from checking your phone, you can put it on camera mode, time lapse mode, and just record yourself working. And because you're recording yourself, you tend to not go and pick it up. So that's another cool hack, and I have done it in the past. I don't do it anymore because I don't need to, but that's something that you can try for sure. Now coming to, what if any of these activities don't work for you? What if you've tried all of this and it doesn't work for you? Then what? In that case, I would actually suggest seeking professional help from a therapist, from a psychologist or a psychiatrist, because several studies have shown that some people who get addicted to social media already have a predisposition. Matlab, unka brain already predisposed hai to get addicted. A lot of people, despite using social media all day, can easily cut off, right? The difference is in their mental or their neural makeup. So there might be some issue in that regard. You might have lower levels of dopamine or serotonin than you regularly should. So that is something that you can easily get checked out. I would suggest getting professional help, going and talking to either a psychiatrist or a psychologist and talking about your problem if none of these fixes work for you. But make sure you try these before you do anything else, because in a lot of the cases, it all boils down to our habits and our discipline and our intention. And with that, I hope this video helped you. If it did, consider subscribing and stay tuned for the next video. Meanwhile, watch these two. Bye.